Hello, everybody. This is part two of making storyfish. And of course, if you don't know who I am, I'm Mr. O, and welcome to my channel. And where we left off, we were just got the outline created, cut out, and our goal is to make a nice, colorful storyfish. So let me just show what I did. I drew on one side just so you can see, and I'm not taking too much time of drawing. Taking my pencil, and as I said before, I'm using a Ticonderoga pencil just because it's easier to erase. I sometimes draw dark, and I know some other students do too. And I like to erase, and I keep a separate eraser. That helps me out, and of course that's a kneaded one. That's one of those stretchy ones, and I want to draw all the details that I can. I'm not going to worry about any extra lines. Sorry, I had something caught in my throat there. Wait till I'm on video. I already have enough trouble talking on video. And I'm just kind of making these neat designs. I think they're neat. You probably will go, that's not what I'm going to do with mine. You do yours however you want. And you'll notice I double line. That gives me the option if I want to do a two-color thing, and we'll talk a little bit about color and using the markers. And you can see I have everything drawn here. You'll notice that I'm doing like the fins first. And I'm just double lining. I find that easier to do. Now, here's the, oops, I glued a little bit of the inside. That's okay, you just pull it. And I'd clean that up, but that's up to you if you want to do that or not. I must have got too much glue. And I usually check that before I hold it down, and we'll get that covered up with the marker. I'll blend that in with color. So if you make that mistake, one, maybe it'll look like battle damage to your fish, but you can turn it into something. Don't let mistakes ruin anything you're doing. Scales. I think I'm going to try something new. You've been seeing that I've been doing the scales that look like E's, but I don't draw them that way. Most people just do this, and you notice how I lose control. I do draw my scales individually in groups of 3. And I feel like it has a better layered look than just trying to do the E. If you're watching this video, slow it down. Remember, you're creating something. You're not just doing something. This is not just to see how many you can do. You're not just doing a worksheet. Have fun with it. Express yourself. And this time, I'm going to draw my scales like diamond. And it may seem like it's hard at first, but you'll find out actually doing the diamond is actually pretty easy. The diamond is kind of like the snake skin type scales. We'll talk about that sometime when we talk about drawing reptiles. I'm sure I'll do a video on that one day. And I'm just going to go as fast as I can if you don't mind. And that way we can get to the coloring. Oops. Not going to worry about my extra lines right now. I am going to try to control what I do. And I'm drawing here. I could get a ruler, make everything perfect, but I'm not worrying about being perfect. As you can see, I'm making lots of mistakes right now, but that's all right. You know, I have students who do that all the time, obsess over their mistakes, and they never get anything done. And I think they learn it from me sometimes about worrying about being perfect. And in doing these videos, I've learned, especially when you feel pressured, When you're sitting in a classroom and it's not a good drawing day, it's hard to just draw. Art is really the ultimate academic class, but it is something that can't always just be done. You just don't go and create. Sometimes you just need a break. You just don't have it. I remember drawing for kids, like I would be drawing their superheroes, and they show me years later what I drew for them, and I realized I was having a terrible art day, and I should really redraw those so they don't show that to other people. Alrighty, I think that just gets me. I'll put a little smile on this side of the face, and you'll find that my two designs are different. You don't have to do that. You can keep your design any way you want. Now I will have a marker video look for water-based markers to maybe some pointers on drawing with or coloring with markers. I am using Crayola brand water-based markers. Another nice brand is Mr. Sketch. And before I start to color, I'm going to take my eraser and I'm going to lighten up everything. I'm just gonna, so if you have a pink eraser, that'll work. And I'm just gently dragging, but I'm holding. And if you haven't watched the first part of the video of the lesson yet, I'm using a cardstock, so it makes it easy. Copy paper, keep your hand and the eraser closer together or you'll crinkle your paper. Other type paper that's flimsy, that doesn't have a lot of weight to it, same thing. And be aware that your markers may leak through copy paper, but you know, so what? The last part of the lesson, you can maybe do it on a separate piece of paper and add it later. So I'm just going to show a few things. Like I said, I will have a water-based marker lesson. Look for that. And I will put a link in the description below. So I do water-based markers with the line technique. And the one thing with markers, if you color right with them, they make things, I'm going to do actually this little piece here. It's faster to color correctly. Now, I don't know in the video, I still see my pencil line through the marker, and this is where the red comes in. So I used to do this with changeable markers, where you take this, you color them one color, and then you can take another color and it changes them, and hence why they're called changeables. But those are kind of expensive, and you may not have those at home. If you do, use them. You'll like it. But I'm just using a darker color, and I do highlights. So I think about the colors I'm going to do. I'm going to bring out the other fish so you can kind of see what I did with the scales again. And you can see that I did purple and green, and I was able to do a pattern of sorts. And then I took blue, because blue goes into both purple and green, and I did my accents with those. Now, if I want to be real fancy, if you're an older student and you know how to use the white gel pen, you can watch that video on gel pens. You can actually go over with white gel pen and make little gleams. I actually have a white gel pen right here. So if you want to take it to the next level, you can just add a little bit of gleams in each scale, and that will really make everything pop. So that's just an idea. Not trying to make things harder on you. Sometimes you have to do this a couple times. You realize that I have done this many times because I was teaching it. Now, the only other thing I want to color for you, I think you got the idea, you just color the whole thing, is the eye. I just want to do a little bit of the eye. And I didn't do a lot for an iris, so I'm going to just create an iris. I'm going to do my iris brown. I always seem to use blue. I got the bad habit of using blue, but brown's a very beautiful color too. And I got my little bit of brown. If I can pop that back on. And the reason I'm holding this the way I am, if you haven't or you missed it in the last video, is I'm on a drafting table and it's at a slope. So sometimes the pictures slide down, especially when I'm moving around. And I'm going to outline all of this. And then I'm going to put a little bit of gleam. I'm going to just do that right now. And just gently color. There we go. Now I can start the line technique. And oops, missed that little piece right there. And there I go. I just follow the curve with that. And so let's pretend I got the whole thing color. And so I'm back to my original example. Let's just show this side because we haven't looked at this side very much. As you can see, you can create two different sides for yours, or you can make it identical. Now, these are called story fish. And so what I did is I opened up. Now, when I first started teaching this, I only did science facts because it was really being pushed, and I felt like we were missing some opportunity because I think when I looked at this project, and I do not remember where I got the idea from, there was more kind of just writing sentences involved. But on one side, we have science fish facts: breathe water, have up to 6 fins. Iowa has 148 different fish species. Where you live, you might have a lot more or a lot less. The Iowa state fish is the channel cat. Personal story. This is where the story part, and this is where it really becomes your art. Art is about expressing yourself, making it personable. The greatest pieces don't always have to have a personal connection to the artist. It could be a commission piece that just went somewhere, but people attach feeling to it because it connects to them. If I was going to put a personal story, I would talk about appreciating when I was in high school in San Diego. My father would take me to the Santa Fe Lake and we would catfish. It'd be just him and I. We'd fish to midnight, and I always appreciated that time together. And a few years ago, my mother and father were going to get rid of the fishing poles he used to use. They're worn out. They were probably 20 years old when when he was fishing. And I have much better poles than that. But when I found out they were going to get rid of those, I asked them, "Hey, would you mail those to me? I would really like to keep them." As I was saying, I have better poles. I don't keep them to fish. I keep them because they mean something to me, because that was an important time to me that I spent with my father, and that's something I could write. Now, for you, you may have never gone fishing, and it could be a time you ate with people fish. Could be a fish fry. Could be a time that you and your mom bought fish for your aquarium. You went to the aquarium. Something that connects, and you can use fish as that thing that connects you to your story. It doesn't have to be a parent. It could be fishing with a sibling, fishing with a friend, swimming in the river. And there's a strong memory that's important to you, and you can write that out. And it's one way to express. Now, like for somebody like me who grew up with a speech impediment, sharing personal stuff hasn't been very easy, because every time I spoke, people were more worried about correcting how I was speaking than listening to what I was trying to express to them. So, of course, my reaction when I was in elementary school was I wouldn't share anymore. And writing things out was the closest thing I got to sharing. Now that I'm older, I don't care. I notice in the videos that I do mispronounce, or I do not enunciate some things, because I can make 100 videos and I'll still be nervous each and every time. I know some of you guys are like that too. But this is how, if you struggle getting your personal feelings out there, what a great way to start doing it. Don't worry about grammar. Do not worry about spelling. It's not about that. I tell kids, I have kids who are terrible writers, who would not write anything for English class, and they will write me novels because they know I will not grade them on grammar or spelling. and I will help them, I will evaluate them, but there is no grade for that. And you're doing this at home for fun? Just write, express yourself, have your memories down, and I guarantee you will appreciate that in the future. I hope you guys really enjoyed this video, and I'm gonna of course get this right here. And I'm gonna get my Y backwards. Why did I do that? Well, let's just start over. You are important. Never forget that. And I will see you guys next video. Bye-bye.